Awesome. So yeah, here we are. We got 11 minutes. So what's on your heart or mind that you wanted to talk about?
So I guess this thing comes up for me sometimes that I'm not sure how, if it even is a thing, but so I'm currently living with my family, and I've been doing that for a really long time here in Florida, and sometimes I guess I feel so taken care of and so supported, and then I feel like I'm not doing enough, or maybe more like towards work. It's like I'm not doing enough in certain aspects of my life, and I think it revolves a lot of times around work. Like my work is like for my dad, and I work like 6 months out of the year. And that can really support me mostly throughout the year, but I feel like I should be doing something more. And I'm like having this, so sometimes I just, I feel like almost unworthy. It's weird. Of like the ease that is my life.
Yeah. I think that's really cool that you're aware of that, and yeah, I don't think it's. I think it's a courageous thing to step into to grace. So like for someone to receive grace and inheritance and support, that's not. Sometimes that's harder for people to do than working. So I think what you're saying is it might not be as weird as you think it is. Yeah, it's amazing to me that I know people that like won't receive money from their parents, that or they're like in resistance to receiving support from their brother or their uncle because it's their uncle, or because it's their brother, or because it's their dad. And that to me is just like, as it's like anything else, it's just a weird it's a weird fear. And
It is, and then I've seen like my dad didn't have that. He had the opposite, where it was like, my dad's mentality is very work. He's worked really hard. He still does. He loves it. But of course it can get to him sometimes, because that's just in that mode of just constantly really going really, and he's so innovative and creative, and constantly it's just he puts in a lot of effort, he puts in a lot of work, and then, we have this great relationship. I'm so close to them, like we can all live together and get along and thrive, really. But something inside, and sometimes it'll be there and sometimes it won't, but when it comes up for me, it's probably one of the bigger things that I tend to, it kind of stops me. I'm thinking about it more, and why do I feel that way? Can I be doing more? And so I have these thoughts a lot, and I can voice them to somebody, and
my phone's dying.
A friend or something, but I felt like this could maybe open something else up that maybe I'm not seeing, or I could just aid me kind of with that piece.
Yeah, charger. Yeah, what's your dad's name? Mike. So I'm imagining Mike doesn't really, he probably feels good about him working as hard as he does and you receiving as much support as you do with working as hard as you do, or does he want you to work harder, or is this your own thing?
No, I mean, I think he's okay with it, but I think he definitely even had conversations about it, because we're just in such different positions. So we worked together business-wise, so sometimes our opinions of things can be very different, because how I was brought up and how he was brought up are so opposite that our differences can come up in business sometimes, and it's interesting. So we've openly talked about it, but I think there is a side of him that didn't see me having a child already, saw me more maybe business focused, kind of focusing more on my career. And so I think this was kind of a new thing where he's at first he didn't see this, so it was kind of a surprise for him. But I don't think there's any resentment or anything like that towards one another. But I definitely see that I could see where his thoughts would be, surprised at the fact that I chose to maybe focus more of my energy currently on being a mother than on like, you know, getting my finances or making money or doing something like that, like career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I imagine Mike, like if I'm projecting myself upon Mike as having a daughter, and like me, it sounds like the way you were describing Mike, it almost sounds like you could be describing me. And I'm like, yeah, I would hope that Davina, I trust that Davina won't ever feel the need to live like I live or to fulfill my shoes, but more that she feels supported in doing what's most important to her. So if that means having a child or if that means having a family. And it's funny you're bringing this subject up because I've been listening to the Steve Jobs book lately. I don't know if you've ever listened to that one or read that one. It's pretty good, pretty big. But Steve Jobs was talking about, or like when the business was originally formed, like the advice that he got was do not do a business to get rich. This is not a business to get rich. This is a business that it lasts forever. You're building something that can last forever and that adds like immense amounts of value to your life and other people's lives. And that doesn't even have to be a business. It could be you just being a mother of your family, and being a great wife and being a great mom. And I also can understand that your ambition, especially with your dad being how he behaves and how he is.
Oh, and my mom.
And your mom's.
My mom's like school teacher, runs a gym, like raises my kids, like helps me. Like my mom's superwoman too. I'm just surrounded by like these really like go-getting people.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's what I'm saying. It can be argued though that you're doing the most because you're receiving the most with the least amount of effort.
Yeah.
So it's like you may be the most efficient. Like even though it's different from your mom and dad, for whatever position that you're in, you're being the most efficient because you're probably receiving the most amount of rewards with the least amount of grind and hustle. It's much more of a queen bee type of energy, I would say. And I have so much respect and honor, obviously, for like the queen bee. I really believe in this idea. Bees in colonies and the whole idea of like this matriarchal figure that can hold such a large, nurturing, feminine space with doing so little. That is like what fires up the worker bees. I think that's like what worker bees will ignite their passion. So I'm not saying it's necessarily easy to sit on a throne, but the throne might be for you, in the sense that you're doing so much by doing nothing. Like I think your parents are probably partly working like they work because of you. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do, and it's an interesting thing. I have a sister, and she's an addict. She's actually like addicted to OxyContin. It's been going on for like 10 years. Her daughter was born addicted. I mean, it's been a very, my parents pretty much raised her kids.
Is she older than you then? She's your older sibling? She's your older sister? Younger, okay.
Yeah, but only by 16 months. So we're like really close in age, but and it's been a really interesting dynamic with her and my dad because my dad will never give up. He'll never not be there for her, and so she knows that. And I don't know if she does that, knowing he'll never give up on her. But I mean, she tortures him. It's like, or he tortures himself, kind of like trying for her to be something she won't ever be.
And then back to the bee. I want to like remind myself out loud and you and that like once again, if we look at a bee colony, a hive, although the worker bees might seem like they're traveling this many miles a day and they're pollinating this many flowers a day and they're so busy and so like seeming to be full of action, while the queen bee may just seem like she's staying kind of in the same place and just receiving support from all the worker bees. Which one's the most important? Like, which one's more important to the colony's survival? Like, it can almost be argued that the queen bee doing nothing is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's easy. Like, I definitely receive, like, it's a kind of a medication for me. It's like medicine for me to, like, do something that I'm extremely passionate about and, like, turn my ideas into physical action and but that I feel like that's how I'm geared. I'm more geared in that. Like I feel like I've tapped into an innate thing, and I do think like your innate ability to be is profound, and I think your innate ability to even like to be aware, self-aware enough of to be tempted to like go work or go hustle or create something, and then just noticing that's beautiful too. Like to notice that you might feel that drive, and I have a feeling as long as you can keep sitting at peace with that and doing what's most important, like being an awesome mom. I'm imagining what's most important to you right now is being an awesome mom and a wife and supporting your child. That like be aware of what you're thinking about and still do what's most important to you. And then I think if there ever is an idea that's going to strike you, that you'll know that's the one to take action on, because your patience is going to pay. You're not just going after the first thing that's presented to you. You're not like a rat in the wheel. You're not a worker bee. You're not a drone. You're not I don't see you as an employee, drone, ant. I see you as much more of a queen bee archetype, and I understand that. I'm not saying that's easy, but I think it's right for you, and for right now, and especially with having a little.
No, thanks for sharing that. Because I think too, it's a lot of programming. You know, like I watched my parents do that my whole life. You know, I've watched it. Even my partner, it's very work. You know, he loves to work, so I'm just really surrounded by a lot of these people who like that's the main focus of them. So sometimes I'm just sitting there like. Even, you know, nursing my baby now is like a big thing. I'm nursing my baby, and I'm just watching these people like run around me and, you know, get all this stuff accomplished, and it would seem that I'm accomplishing little. And I think sometimes I'm just like questioning that, and like in my heart I know that it's not that way, but it can feel that way.
Yeah, I think you're just being empathetic to like the energy around you. And not needing to change anything, I think is also very amazing of you. And yeah, I keep picturing that colony. Like the worker bees would probably go crazy if the queen bee wanted to do what they were doing. They would lose their shit because their colony would probably collapse. If all of a sudden the queen bee's like, I want to be a worker bee.
And it's interesting too, because a lot of people will say like, have said like, you kind of hold the family together. You know, like like this lady does these oil treatments on like my mom and I, and she would say like, you know, you kind of keep the peace. It's like the peacefulness because when I would leave and travel, like things would always seem to get more like out of hand than when like I was with them. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean it's crazy enough. It's almost 13 minutes. But I want to say like Deanna and Davina, them by staying at home and like doing what's most important to them, is what drives me in a way. It's like one of my most important driving forces. So if Deanna was out like trying to go earn money, or just because she wants money or like something like that, I'm like, no, I would much rather give that money to you, and you do like I'll go get the money. Let me go get the money, and then you do what you're doing, and that's actually more fulfilling to me for her, like for her doing that. So I hear you, and I think we kind of put a nice picture together, and maybe a nice reminder to you that like, yeah, by you breastfeeding, that might be the best thing you can do for your dad and your husband and your mom and your sister, crazy as that is.
Okay. Thanks. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice to just talk about that.
And I want one more time, I want like continue being patient, and if there is an idea that strikes, then you'll know. Like that'll be the one to take action on. But there's no reason to be seduced into being busy for no reason. Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan.